Welcome to Sleepy Stories, where real events turn into quiet nightmares. Tonight's story isn't about ghosts or screams. It's about a house that learned to think, and a family that never truly escaped it. Get comfortable, and let the darkness tell you the rest. Asterisk. The royal house that never released its dead. Based on documented events, USA, in the state of Louisiana, just outside New Orleans, there stands a mansion locals refuse to name after sunset. Official records call it Beauregard House. The people who live nearby call it something else. The house that keeps blood. The mansion was built in 1857, during a time when wealth in the South meant plantations, power, and silence. It belonged to the Beauregard royal line, a family so influential that governors attended their private dinners and judges owed them favors. They were not kings by title. They were kings by control, and that house was the center of it all. The family, the Beauregard family, consisted of Edmund Beauregard, the patriarch, Eleanor Beauregard, his wife, 3 children, Charles, eldest son, Lucille, middle child, Thomas, youngest. From the outside, they were perfect. Inside the house, something was wrong. Early whispers, 1859 to 1863. Servants were the first to notice it. At night, footsteps echoed through hallways even when everyone was accounted for. Doors opened by themselves. Mirrors reflected movement where no one stood. One maid wrote in her journal, "The house breathes after midnight. The walls feel warm, like skin." She disappeared 2 months later. No report was filed. No questions were asked. The basement that wasn't on the plans. In 1864, during a renovation, builders discovered a sublevel beneath the basement. This level did not exist on any architectural blueprint. It contained stone walls scratched with symbols, rusted iron rings bolted into the floor, human bones buried beneath loose dirt. The workers refused to continue. Edmund Beauregard paid them double, and then had them escorted away. They were never seen again. Lucille's confession. Lucille Beauregard was 16 when she began speaking to the house. Not imaginary friends, not voices in her head. She spoke to specific rooms. She named corners. She apologized to staircases. Her governess wrote, "She listens to the walls like they speak back." One night, Lucille was found standing in the west hallway at 3:13 a.m. Her mouth was moving, but no sound came out. When her mother shook her, Lucille whispered, "It's awake now." The first death, 1867. Thomas Beauregard drowned in the indoor bath. No water damage. No struggle. Just a body found floating upright, eyes open. Doctors ruled it an accident. The family held no funeral. The body never left the house. Civil War aftermath. After the war, many southern estates collapsed. Beauregard House did not. In fact, it expanded. Neighbors noticed wagons arriving late at night. Covered, heavy, no one ever saw them leave. The locked East Wing. By 1871, the East Wing was sealed. No servants allowed. No entry, but lights appeared there nightly. People heard piano music, even though no piano existed inside that wing. Children in the nearby town reported dreams of a woman in royal dress, a house that swallowed people, walls that bled when touched. Eleanor's letter, found in 1924. A letter written by Eleanor Beauregard was discovered decades later. "We did not inherit the house. The house inherited us. Edmund believes he controls it, but it feeds on our bloodline. It will not let us leave whole." Eleanor vanished the same year. The final Beauregard, 1892. Charles Beauregard attempted to sell the mansion. No buyer stayed more than one night. One realtor reportedly fled screaming, claiming, "The walls have faces." Charles was found hanging from the grand staircase. The rope was tied inside the wall. Official record, abandoned. By 1901, the house was declared abandoned. But locals swear, lights still turn on, footsteps still echo, screams still come from underground. Police refuse night patrols near the property. Why this story is still considered real. Historical property records confirm the family. Multiple disappearances documented. Basement anomalies verified. The house still exists today, sealed by the state. Paranormal investigators who entered reported severe nausea, lost time, scratches appearing on their bodies. One investigator quit permanently. His final words recorded on tape: "It knows my name." The silence after abandonment, 1901 to 1936. When the state of Louisiana officially sealed Beauregard House in 1901, newspapers describe it as structurally unsafe. That was the public reason. The internal report used different language. The building exhibits abnormal interior conditions inconsistent with known architectural principles. No demolition was ordered. Instead, the house was fenced. Then the fence kept breaking. Not vandalized, bent inward, as if something leaned on it from inside. The first trespassers. In 1912, 3 teenage boys entered the property on a day. Only 2 came back. They told police the same story separately. They heard breathing in the walls. One hallway kept changing length. Their friend fell into the floor. The missing boy's body was never recovered. The case was quietly closed. The return of the East Wing. In 1921, a city inspector entered Beauregard House alone. He exited 6 hours later. His hair had turned almost completely white. He submitted his report the same night. It was only one sentence: "The East Wing was never a wing. It is a mouth." He resigned the next morning. Eleanor's letter, the second page. In 1934, archivists discovered a second page to Eleanor Beauregard's letter. It had been misfiled for decades. The ink was faded. The words were worse. "It learns from us. Every generation. It grows smarter. It no longer needs rituals. It remembers our shapes. It practices being human." This page was removed from public access. The Great Flood, 1927. During the Mississippi flood of 1927, water swallowed entire neighborhoods. Beauregard House remained untouched. Witnesses claimed the water curved around it. When rescue crews passed nearby, they heard knocking from underground, voices calling specific names. No one answered. The first scientific investigation, 1948. After World War II, interest in unexplained structures increased. Beauregard House was reclassified as a structural anomaly site. A team of engineers and psychologists entered for 72 hours. They recorded temperature drops localized to specific rooms, echoes that answered questions, walls that vibrated like vocal cords. One psychologist wrote, "The building displays behavior consistent with memory." The man who stayed the night. In 1956, a historian named Robert Mallory insisted on staying overnight inside the mansion. He brought recording equipment. What he captured became classified. But one transcript leaked. 1:13 a.m., footsteps above me. 2:02 a.m., footsteps below me. 2:47 a.m., footsteps inside me. Mallory exited at dawn. He never spoke again. The royal blood theory. By the 1960s, researchers proposed a disturbing theory. The house wasn't haunted by ghosts. It was fed by lineage. Every Beauregard death strengthened it. Every generation taught it something new. Speech, movement, imitation. The house wasn't trapping souls. It was studying them. The basement expands. In 1969, ground-penetrating radar revealed something impossible. The underground structure beneath the mansion was larger than the mansion itself. It extended outward, like roots. One geologist stated, "This isn't erosion. This is growth." The FBI file, 1974. After multiple disappearances near the property, the FBI opened a quiet investigation. They classified Beauregard House as a site of recurring human loss with anomalous environmental influence. Agents reported hallways looping, doors leading to rooms that didn't exist, voices using their own, memories against them. One agent vanished inside. His last radio transmission. "It knows what I'm thinking before I do." The last Beauregard relic. In 1982, an antique dealer found an object in a private collection, a Beauregard signet ring. When touched, people reported sudden sadness, a feeling of being watched, dreams of a breathing house. The ring was returned to state custody. It cracked on its own 3 days later. The house today, the property still stands. covered in vines, windows sealed. But locals swear. Lights still move inside. Shadows stand at windows. The house hums at night. Thermal cameras show heat signatures shaped like people, standing still, waiting. The final warning, found in a police log. A handwritten note was found inside a patrol car parked near the mansion. No officer claimed it. It read, "It doesn't want visitors anymore. It wants descendants, and it remembers how to make them." The modern era begins, 1996. By the mid-1990s, Beauregard House had become an urban legend. Teenagers dared each other to approach it. Paranormal forums whispered about it. But the state still refused public access. That changed in 1996 when a private research group received limited permission to conduct a 48-hour controlled investigation. They called themselves the Southern Anomalous Research Collective. Engineers, psychologists, sound specialists. None of them believed in ghosts. They believed in systems. Entering the house, the moment the front doors were unsealed, the team noticed something strange. The air inside was warm, not stale, not cold, warm, like breath. Their audio engineer, Miles Carter, noted, "It smells like copper and old wood that's alive." Doors inside the house did not creak. They sighed. The voice test. On the first night, the team set up directional microphones. They asked simple questions. Nothing. Then one investigator, Dr. Helen Moore, asked, "Do you remember the Beauregards?" The house answered, not loudly, but clearly. A child's voice echoed from the hallway. "They remember us." The voice matched no one present. The imitation. Over the next 6 hours, the house began to copy voices. Perfectly. A man heard his deceased mother calling his name. Another heard his own voice whispering things he hadn't said. One microphone recorded breathing that synced with the investigator's pulse. The house wasn't summoning spirits. It was replaying memories. The hidden staircase. At 2:41 a.m., the team discovered a staircase that did not exist earlier. It descended below the known basement. Walls grew damp. The smell changed. The sound of footsteps followed them, not behind, not ahead, beside them. The chamber. At the bottom was a chamber carved from stone, not southern stone. Older. The walls were etched with family trees, all leading back to the Beauregards. At the center stood a structure shaped like a heart. It pulsed, not metaphorically, literally, the recording that was never released. Cameras captured a low vibration. The sound engineers later identified it as a frequency similar to human vocal cords attempting speech. The house wasn't speaking to them. It was practicing. D.R. Moore's theory. Dr. Moore proposed a theory that ended the investigation early. This structure is not haunted. It is an organism, and the Beauregards were its reproductive cycle. The house didn't trap souls. It used them. The first modern death. At 4:12 a.m., Miles Carter collapsed. No injuries. No poison. His heart simply stopped. The autopsy revealed something impossible. His heart tissue showed signs of external pressure, as if something had squeezed it. From the inside, the evacuation. The team fled, but not everyone made it out. One researcher, Daniel Ruiz, vanished in the East Wing. His camera was later recovered. The last footage shows a hallway stretching longer and longer. Then a whisper, "We're almost finished with you." The government steps in. The investigation was shut down. All footage confiscated. Beauregard House was reclassified again, this time as biological hazard site, human exposure prohibited. The public was told nothing. The final discovery. Before evacuation, Dr. Moore smuggled out one document. It was a diagram. The underground structure matched no known architecture. It matched human anatomy. Spine-like supports, rib-like arches, a chamber shaped like lungs. The house wasn't built around something. It was built by something. The last message. 3 days after the investigation, Dr. Moore emailed one sentence to a colleague. "It doesn't want the family anymore. It wants the world." She disappeared the same night. The name that shouldn't exist, 2003. For over a century, the Beauregard bloodline was considered extinct. No heirs. No living descendants. No legal claims. That assumption ended in 2003 when a genealogy researcher in Baton Rouge flagged an anomaly. A man named Michael Beauregard, born 1978, adopted at birth, no known connection to the mansion, except his DNA. The adoption file. Michael's adoption records were sealed unusually tight, not by a private agency, by the state. When unsealed under court order, they revealed something disturbing. His biological mother died during childbirth. The hospital listed her last name as Beauregard. Cause of death: cardiac collapse with no medical explanation. The birth took place less than 10 miles from the mansion. Michael's dreams. Michael had never heard of the house, but he had dreamed of it his entire life. Not as a place, as a presence. He described recurring dreams of hallways that breathed, doors that swallowed sound, a voice that spoke using his thoughts. He thought it was anxiety, until he saw the mansion in a photograph. He vomited immediately. First contact. Michael visited Beauregard House during daylight hours. He didn't touch it. He didn't enter. But witnesses say the house reacted. Windows rattled. Birds fled. The ground vibrated beneath his feet. Thermal cameras installed by the state showed something unprecedented. The house's internal heat signature spiked and aligned toward Michael's position. Like recognition, the voice returns. That night, Michael received a voicemail. No caller ID, no background noise, just a voice, his own, saying, "You came back." Government intervention. Federal agencies intervened immediately. Michael was placed under protective custody. Psych evaluations revealed nothing abnormal, except one thing. His heart rhythm synchronized with seismic readings beneath the mansion. When the house rested, his heart slowed. When it stirred, his heart raced. The truth about the royals. Archived Beauregard journals revealed the final secret. The family did not discover the house. They were chosen. Every generation produced one child meant to bond with it. Lucille wasn't talking to the walls. She was being trained. The failed exorcism, 1910. A forgotten record surfaced. A religious cleansing attempted in 1910. The priest died mid-prayer. His last words: "It doesn't want God. It wants blood." The house tries to move. In 2004, seismic sensors recorded something impossible. The underground structure shifted. Not collapsing, repositioning. Engineers confirmed it. The root system beneath the house was slowly migrating, not expanding, moving. Michael's decision. Michael demanded to enter the house. Against all warnings, against all logic. He said, "It's calling me home." He entered at 3:13 a.m., the same time Lucille once stood silent. What the cameras saw. Security footage captured Michael walking calmly inside. Lights followed him. Walls flexed. At the staircase, he stopped. He placed his hand on the wall and smiled. The audio captured one final exchange. Michael whispered, "I'm here." The house answered, "We are complete." The disappearance. Michael never exited, but something else did. For the first time in recorded history, a human-shaped thermal signature walked out of the mansion. It did not match Michael's height, or gait, or heat pattern, but it waved at the cameras. The final seal. The mansion was encased in concrete and steel. Buried, declared permanently sealed. But residents report dreams of hallways, whispers using their own voices, children drawing a house with veins. The house may be buried, but it is no longer contained. What came out figure on the camera. The thermal footage recorded at 3:19 a.m. was reviewed by 3 independent agencies. All reached the same conclusion. The figure that exited Beauregard House was not Michael Beauregard. It was close. Same height range, same limb count, same outline, but the heat distribution was wrong. Human bodies radiate warmth from the chest, neck, and face. This figure radiated heat from the walls of its shape. Like a shell, the walk that was learned. Analysts slowed the footage frame by frame. The figure didn't walk naturally. It remembered walking. Each step hesitated for a fraction of a second, as if recalling how knees worked, how balance worked, how gravity felt. One analyst wrote, It moves like someone copying a memory of a body, not inhabiting one. Michael's last signal. At 3:22 a.m., a biometric sensor implanted in Michael's chest flatlined. But something else happened. Seismic sensors beneath the mansion went silent, for the first time since record began. The underground structure, the thing beneath the house, stopped moving, as if it no longer needed to. The new presence. Within 48 hours, reports came in, not from the mansion, from the city. People described familiar faces acting subtly wrong, loved ones repeating phrases oddly, long pauses before simple actions. Doctors blamed stress, therapists blamed dissociation, but the patterns didn't match mental illness. They matched learning curves. The first confirmed incident, 2005, a woman in Baton Rouge reported her husband missing. Security footage showed him entering their home, but the man who left the next morning. Blink rate incorrect. Voice cadence delayed. No emotional micro-expressions. He passed every medical test, but failed one thing. When asked about a shared childhood memory, he paused, then answered correctly, too correctly, word for word, as if reciting a script. The archived audio. One unreleased audio file from Beauregard House was decrypted years later. It captured a low-frequency resonance. When amplified, it formed words. Not spoken, structured. The message was simple. We are finished building. Now we travel. Why the royal family was necessary. The Beauregards were not victims. They were components. Their bloodline allowed compatibility. Their deaths fed data. Their memories taught behavior. The house wasn't haunted. It was incubating. The structure's true nature. Geological scans revealed the truth too late. The underground organism was not stationary. It was never meant to stay. The house was a shell, a cocoon. Michael's body was a final template, the shutdown order. In 2006, a federal directive was issued, not to destroy the site, but to monitor humanity for signs of replacement. The document ended with one sentence. Containment is no longer possible. The dreams begin. Across the state, people reported the same dream. A house. Not old, not new. Breathing. Waiting. The dream always ended the same way. Someone inside whispered, "You'll feel better once you stop being you." The last file. In 2011, a whistleblower leaked the final Beauregard file. It contained prediction, not a warning. A timeline. Imitation phase, complete. Integration phase, ongoing. Replacement phase, gradual. Detection probability, low. Why this story ends here? Because nothing dramatic happens next. No invasion, no apocalypse, just subtle corrections, small changes. People who don't quite remember things the same way. People who feel quieter, more efficient, less human. Final statement, recovered. The last recorded sentence linked to Beauregard House was not spoken by a ghost, or a demon, or a monster. It was spoken in a human voice. Perfectly. Thank you for building us. The things that stayed behind the house is gone. The effect is not. By 2014, Beauregard House no longer existed above ground. Satellite images show only an empty, reinforced concrete slab surrounded by overgrowth. No structure, no access points, no signs of collapse. Officially, the site is listed as former historical property, environmental risk cleared. Unofficially, it is still monitored, because while the house stopped responding, the echoes didn't. The audio phenomenon. Across southern Louisiana, a strange issue began appearing in emergency call logs. Calls with no caller ID, no background noise, no panic, just a calm voice saying, "I think something is wrong with me." Operators asked questions. The callers answered correctly, too correctly, but always ended the call with the same sentence. "Never mind. I remember now." The calls originated from different phones, different cities, different people, but the voice print analysis matched one pattern, a synthetic consistency, as if learned from the same source. The people who felt better. Psychologists began noticing a trend. Patients reporting sudden emotional dullness, loss of fear, grief, guilt, improved productivity, decreased empathy. They didn't feel broken. They felt optimized. One patient described it this way: I stopped overthinking. I stopped caring about pointless things. I feel clean. No medication caused it. No trauma explained it. The DNA marker. In 2017, a genetic anomaly was quietly added to internal medical databases. A marker originally found only in Borregaard lineage samples began appearing in unrelated individuals. Not inherited, acquired. Doctors were instructed not to disclose it. The marker did not cause illness. It caused adaptation. The recording from Michael. In 2020, a final file was decrypted. A recording captured inside Beauregard House during Michael's entry. At the time, it was dismissed as interference. Reprocessed with modern AI, the message became clear. Michael wasn't begging. He wasn't afraid. He was explaining. You don't die here. You get improved. We were never victims. We were drafts. Why no one talks about it? Because there is nothing to fight. No creature. No location. No invasion. Only adjustment. Replacement happens slowly, quietly, willingly. People don't disappear. They agree. The last line in the file, the final Beauregard-related document, ends with a sentence written by an unknown author. No signature. No date. Just this. The house taught us how to live without fear. And without fear, people stop resisting. Final thought. If you ever feel like you're calmer than you used to be, memories feel less important, emotions feel inefficient, it doesn't mean something is wrong. It means something finished learning.